Does Marvel Rivals need some type of role lock? A hot topic in these first days after release. Let's have a look. Last night, competitive play unlocked in Marvel Rivals. As soon as you make it to level 10, you can join these competitive games. A game mode in which the games are supposed to be taken more seriously. It is also a game mode that is going to reward you with this black and gold Moon Knight skin, if you manage to climb up to gold by the end of the season. Now, this competitive system is rather different from the one in Overwatch. You kind of start at the bottom, and every time you win a game, you climb that ladder. If you lose one, you'll tumble down a little bit. There's also a bit of a demotion protection system, but I'll get back to that in a future video. In this video today, I want to talk about role lock or role queue. It is already a very hot topic, and we're just a few days into the release. And that is because, as always, most players are more keen to play DPS heroes than tank or support heroes, as we have seen in many other games. This is not a surprise. And while some people will put aside their personal needs for the benefit of the group, others will cling on to that Spider-Man as if it was their long-lost uncle. See what I did there? Yeah. Anyways, at some point, even those Samaritans that sacrifice their own pleasure for the need of the many will just flip off their screen and pick Iron Man. At which point you end up with, well, in the best case, 4 DPS and 2 supports. In the best case. And guess what? Those games are hard. They're not fun for anybody involved, especially not for the supports. And turns out, I'm quite often one of those supports. I like playing support, but not in those games. And I'm not the only one. However, the people that complain the loudest are actually those players that only want to play DPS. Because they want tanks and supports in their games, they just don't want to be those tanks and supports. And that's why we've seen so many people starting to ask for some type of role lock system. So they don't have to feel guilty. And they can break line of sight or dash off away from the group and die in every single game. But would that be a good idea? I mean, Overwatch started out with open queue, much like Rivals did. But they quickly ran into that same problem. The quality of the games was just suffering. People were not having fun, complaining, so they added role queue. However, now we're in 2024, and they're actually trying to get rid of that role queue system. They have been doing these tests of a mid of the road between open queue and role queue, like where you can have 2 players in every single role in 5 versus 5. And next month with the 6 versus 6 tests, they're going to try something called max 3 and min 1, which kind of explains itself. But why do they want to get rid of role queue? Well, for one, they remove a lot of the flexibility that you have. On top of that, they put a lot of pressure on queue times. Like in Marvel Rivals, we have instant games. In Overwatch, you can take a few minutes. So what is the way forward then? Well, a lot of bigger content creators have been talking about this. Some of them are in favor of role lock, which is not role queue. I'll come back to that in a minute. While others, like Flats for instance, think that netties should lean harder into this whole hero fantasy, which means making heroes so overpowered that nobody's overpowered. That they need to do the opposite of what Overwatch is doing. In other words, not balanced for competitive. Because according to those guys, including Flats, that's what the casual players want. And in his opinion, social pressure will eventually push people into better comps. And if they don't, you know, they had fun. With all due respect, I don't agree with that. Sure, right now the chaos can be a lot of fun, but so are roller coasters, where you ride them once in a while. Now, the day that they tell you that this roller coaster is going to be your daily commute to work, at some point you're going to quit your job. Because you don't want to do 6 loops and a screwer every time you go back home after dealing with coworkers complaining about their dog pooping on their bed for 8 hours straight. You just want an easy bus ride at that point. At some point, we'll have discovered everything that there is to discover in Marvel Rivals, and we'll need more out of the game than insanely overpowered heroes, chaos, and getting blown up by a really ill-tempered witch. We'll start to need that feeling of a progression, fair play, skill, even for the casuals. Because if we don't, we won't log in anymore. The fireworks are just not going to cut it. And that social pressure thing, I don't know, it might be different if you play on top 500 level, I don't know, and I will never know. But on the levels that I play at, social pressure is not a good thing. And I'm not even talking about active social pressure. Everybody walking out of the door on 6 DPS is also social pressure, more of the passive kind. It's the good old game of chicken. Who's going to cave first? Which is no fun at all because it's always the same people that end up caving first. The good people. And if it turns out that you're in a group where everybody is just as stubborn, then the real pressure starts. I have more kills than you, so you should switch. That kind of bullshit. Look, if social pressure was a power for good, all these game developers should not have to invest all these resources in fighting toxicity, having report systems, chat filters. You know, we gamers as a group are like a bunch of toddlers that are in constant need of a nap. Now, another point that Flats made was that it is too soon to start kind of making decisions like this, and I do agree on that, partly. I mean, yeah, we're not even a weekend. Let's just chill for a minute. You never know. Miracles might happen. This might be the different community, the different game. On the other hand, every single fiber in my body tells me that it's only going to get worse. But I've been wrong before. However, maybe they should have a plan in case I'm not wrong. And to be clear, I'm not advocating for a role queue system. I don't think that is the solution. But I do think they need to fix this issue, because it is going to become an issue. NetEase's philosophy is that all these characters are DPS. Some can just heal or have a shield. Yeah, no, that is not how it is going to play out. I mean, there's a reason why we have these roles in these types of games. If roles don't matter, why have them? Remove all of the defensive abilities and give everybody a passive heal. Out of combat, of course. And bam, you fixed it. But once you start adding modifiers like this, roles, you need to even the odds in a way. I'm more thinking in a way of doing that same thing that Blizzard is testing, like a min 1 max 3 thing, which is some type of role lock, not role queue. Or there could be another way that they fix this. They have proven to be very creative, but eventually they'll have to deal with this. Or Marvel Rivals is going to end up as one of those arcade games that people play when they meet up with a bunch of friends to drink themselves into oblivion while playing games. Kind of like a booty call. The advantage is that drunk people usually spend a lot more money, so it's that. But no, seriously, I generally hope that they find a way to fix this on the long run. But tell me, what do you think? Do we need a role queue, a role lock, or nothing? Leave it as is. Let me know in the comments. For now, however, that was it. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. It always helps me out. Maybe check out one of my other videos. And make sure to subscribe, because I'm going to be back with a new video very soon. Till then, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye-bye.